Backwoods Bill 2025, December 17th, Wednesday. This is going to be a cool one. They said, hey, we want you on the podcast. Look at that. 2025, ending the year with a podcast. Who would have thought? Of course, In Search of an Answer has an idea for their own podcast. But like everything else, you're going to have to wait for it. So this is a great in-between. It'll be my first podcast experience, just like it was my first experience talking on stage not too long ago. It's pretty exciting. This is no doubt also exciting. What are we going to be talking about? What do you think? The Old Man, Project Grizzly, all the stuff. Maybe some old stuff you already know about, maybe some new stuff. As always, set the story straight, figure it out, and present the legacy as it happened. I never thought we'd be doing a podcast. I want to get like an honest reaction, honest thought process. I grew up and the Old Man was always doing radio interviews. That was the thing back then. You talk about the 90s, the early 2000s. The internet wasn't where it was. There was no such thing as podcasts, really. You did radio interviews. The Old Man was always on the phone. So I've done a couple of those where it's just me talking on the phone or in like a Zoom meeting, but to actually sit down in like a studio in a podcast format, it's, I don't want to say I'm nervous because that's not the right word, but I'm excited just because it's such a different experience. It's so new and it really feels like this is taking off in the direction that we want it to go. What a great way to end the year. December 17th on Wednesday. We scheduled it in pretty quick. I think I'm going in around 1. I don't think it's live or anything like that. They're probably going to shoot it and then put it together. And I'm not even sure how it airs, how it comes out. But I'm sure I'll have more information after. But if you're a fan of that podcast, you're going to see it anyway. And if you're a fan of this, you're going to see more of me. I know that they were trying to get Peter Lynch there as well, but I'm pretty sure Peter's a busy guy. But if they could get Peter there, that would really help because I spoke with she was like a director out of Vancouver, I believe. Was it Vancouver? I think it was Vancouver. Really nice woman. But she asked me a lot of questions about like the early days, you know. And it's funny because growing up, one of the questions that Bill asked that I got to fill out and send to him soon, and one of the questions people always ask me is like, what was it like growing up? What are the stories? How did you feel? I didn't feel anything. It was, second nature. It's everyday life. It's like whatever, the Old Man shot a movie, who cares? I don't mean that in a bad way. But one thing that she was asking me was, what was it like? How did it make you feel? Just the basic things. And it's tough because I really didn't become self-aware of it until I was much older. And I really didn't start getting close with my dad until I was, in my teens. So it's like the stories growing up about Project Grizzly. I mean, I'm sure he talked about it, but they were few and far between because I was never listening. I never cared. So if Peter was there, was there, that'd be huge because he was there. He shot the documentary. He did everything. And he would tell you what it was like back in 95, 96. Way better than I could. I was 4. And then, growing up with it, it's so strange. It's like being in this podcast, being interviewed in a sense, might actually pull some things out of me that I didn't know were there. Because when I'm shooting one of these, it's just me. So it's like I don't have anything planned right now. I'm just driving. It's like, how can I ask a question of myself while I'm doing this? And it's always just these very simple, basic ones. What was it like? How do you feel? It's almost frustrating because it's not something I've ever sat down and asked myself. I can tell you because it's like this. If I can explain this, because no one's going to understand this. It's like we lived multiple lives. There's like multiple timelines. There's multiple versions of my life and of my father. That might make sense to some people. It might make no sense. And it's like he wasn't consistent. he really changed over the years. He was always himself, of course, but the man doing the stunts and Project Grizzly and In Search of an Answer in the 80s and the 90s was not the guy you saw building the Trojan suit of armor in the early, the mid 2000s and things like that. It was the old man, but like the mission and the direction, it was so different, and his goals and his desires were so far removed from what you would be used to in the movie, or from what you would see on the movie. So it's tough because people have an idea of my father, and it's like it's time locked. It's like, okay, that's like 90s Troy. Well, he was a different beast in the early 2000s. And then fast forward to 2010, it's a completely different human being with completely different goals and motivations and flaws and issues. And it's so hard to narrow it down because, like I said, I have all of these different variations of my father. So I almost get not anxiety. Anxiety is not the right word, but it's almost like I get a little bit of hesitation when it's like, hey, let's go talk about your dad, come on, the podcast, and it's like, where do we focus? Where do we go with it? Because I'm always leaning towards like the tail end of his life. I struggled with this with the script from the movie as well that Lance was talking about, because it's like, what do you focus on? Everybody knows the 95 movie, the 96 movie, everybody knows about that, everybody knows that guy, everybody knows the early interviews and things like that, but it's like when I picture my dad, it's tail end of his life, 2015, 2016, he's just a madman, and he's got crazy, grandiose ambitions and things like that, and it's like, it's tough to put those guys together. I'm probably losing track of it, but you can see how confusing it is. It's like, there's like a consistency, there's a continuity of where do we start with the story. And that's a lot of what this is right now with In Search of an Answer, is the human being that you thought you knew. I had this conversation with Stacy. She contacts me and she's like, oh, I want to talk about your dad and the bear suit, and always the bear suit in the movie, of course, and the bear attack. But it's like, that was a small part. It was a big part of his life, but it really felt small. The man that I knew. The man that I knew didn't give a shit about that. It's weird. He didn't care about the movie. He didn't care about the bear research. That was like so far removed when I kind of like became self-aware with it. It was about bullets and bombs and armor and reality TV shows and fucking taking on NASA. And, it's like he couldn't shake that earlier version, and he was still getting paid to do that stuff, right? People come down, $15,000 US. Hey, hop in the suit, Troy. We want to beat you with bats. You're going to do it. You're going to do it. It's going to pay you. So, I'm all over the place right now. I'm excited. It's going to be good, but I just feel like I don't want to give like, it's been so many episodes of like this shotgun blast of here he is. It's so difficult to kind of go back, I guess. I have trouble going back on like the young version of my dad. I'm older than my dad now when he was doing that stuff. That's what blows my mind. I'll look at him in these older videos and I'm like, I'm older than him. Like, if I could go meet my dad now, what would I'd probably smack him upside the head. 100%. Smack his fool head. But, oh man, this might be a two-parter. This is good stuff. It's all good, but it's In Search of an Answer, man. It's a confusing story. It's a confusing life. It's thrilling. There's these wild highs and lows, and I really don't think I've even scratched the surface of this yet. And of course, it's gonna bleed now into me, right? Into my version of things. We're blending.